So there's been a lot of rugby in the air in recent times. There was the United Rugby Championship final just a couple of weeks ago, and then the Currie Cup final just a week ago, where the Pumas won that match up against the Griquas. And, well, the Springboks will also be in action this coming weekend against Wales at a sold out, I beg your pardon, Loftus Versfeld. So there's just this all-round rugby euphoria going on in the country at the moment. And the man that is also making big moves in the world of rugby is Joey Mongalo, and he joins me now via Zoom line. Joey, thank you so much for your time. You have made a big move from Pretoria to Durban. We reported just earlier this week that the Bulls are announcing or have announced your mutual agreement to part ways with them, and then you signed with the Sharks. So you're off to the Shark Tank very soon, early next month. Congrats on the move. It must have been difficult for you.
Yeah, Benjamin, first of all, thank you very much for having me here. I appreciate that. And then you are spot on. The Bulls have been nothing but good to me. In the last 2 years, we've had a really fantastic time together. The tournaments were able to play in. I believe that we played in a way that represented the people of Pretoria really well, in a manner that they could be proud of. So very thankful for these 2 years, and a big part of my looking back, I just look back with joy and great memories on the experiences I had in Pretoria. So very, very thankful for these 2 years.
You're a Pretoria boy, Joey, through and through. You went to Pretoria Boys High. You did play for the Bulls for a short stint in the Currie Cup. Why take yourself out of that comfort zone? Go to Durban, go into the unknown.
I think it's a fantastic question. One, firstly, I think my wife pulled me by the ear because her family's from Durban, so that's part of it. But mainly it's about, I need to do something different now. I've been coaching defense for 12 years now, since 2011. I've been fortunate enough to do it at Currie Cup level, into a Super Rugby final, and now a URC final. So I feel like in my development as the coach, I have to take on a different role. So when the Sharks offered me something different, it's an opportunity I had to jump at because it's something I'm passionate about, and probably a career path that I want to take going forward. So that's probably the main reason why the opportunity. And I'm really looking forward to going to the Sharks and adding value. It's obviously a proud union that's also done well, and they're on the up. You can see by the signings that they're making, not me per se, but the players. You can see it's a club that's headed in the right direction. So it'll be a privilege to add value to that.
You'll explain to us that role in just a bit, and you'll be working with Neil Powell there, who will be heading down there. Was announced earlier this year also. But you sort of started your coaching career in Johannesburg, Lions, went up the ranks up until you worked with Coach Johan Ackerman there. And then you were roped in by Jake White at the Bulls. This is a World Cup winning coach, Joey. Must have been a huge vote of confidence for you. How much of an impact has he had on your career?
Yeah, Benjamin, a very, very impactful one. And I'd almost want to take the time just to honor all the other coaches that I worked for. You know, I got to serve under Bafana David and Ackerman. I watched from afar because I was head coach of the under-19s and under-21s. It was Swayze the Brain who gave me my first opportunity for Super Rugby when we played in the Super Rugby final in 2018. So all those men I just want to honor because they all had an impact of my life. And then also Jake White coming to the Bulls. It was Edgar Rathbone, the CEO, who brought me over. So to him I'm always thankful, and we've still got a very good relationship. And then obviously to sit and learn under somebody like Jake has been an interesting experience, a good experience. I've grown a lot. I've grown a lot in character. I've grown a lot in understanding how one should lead a team and one can lead a team. So I've learned plenty. It's school fees that I couldn't afford to pay if they were in rand value.
And showing confidence in someone as young as you, Joey, also it's unusual, especially in this particular sport, especially with the demographics also in that particular code.
Yeah, I mean, I think I was very fortunate, so having grown up in Brits, I was exposed to playing cricket for the Northwest Province, and then went to Pretoria Boys High, which is an unbelievable school, multicultural, people from every walk of life, and you just learn to respect people for who they are, not what they look like. So that's the very thing I was very fortunate for. Even my time at the University of Pretoria was very similar than that. So in terms of the dynamics, the color racial dynamics, it's something that I've just become accustomed to, because I'm normed. I feel at my most comfortable in a multicultural environment. So I'm very thankful for my history, and I guess the way God created me, that I can be comfortable in those spaces. And then the age thing, I was very fortunate to start young, so I'm 38 now, and I started 12 years ago, so it would have been 26 if my maths is good. So the age must also just be seen in the context of the amount of years that the coaching has happened. And I've just been thankful for all of those experiences. The Lions have been good to me, left on good terms. The Bulls have been to me, left on good terms. I still got very good relationships with the guys at Wits, where I was consulting when I was there, and King Edward, the 7th school. So I've just exposed myself to a lot of good environments, a lot of good people, and I'm still in a very good footing with those people. So very thankful for that.
And you also didn't disappoint, Joey, with your stats in the first season of the URC as well. You were part of that coaching team that took the Bulls all the way to the final in Cape Town. Unfortunately, coming second, commiserations on that. It surely still hurts. But just your stats, you had the best defensive stats in the entire competition.
Yeah, I don't think it was completely that much. I think we're very much improved. I think if you take from the first 2 games, we conceded 9 tries in those games, which is something that we wouldn't be proud of. But if you take the stats from the 3rd round all the way through to the last playoff game, a team like Leinster, which is probably one of the better teams in the competition, had conceded 31 tries. And in the same time frame, we conceded 33 tries. So it just gives an idea that we're headed in the right direction as a union, and that we progressed a lot. And I think a group that should get a lot of credit is the player group that we have, Benjamin. Those guys are, for me, I've said before, that they're probably the most humble, hardworking, and coachable group that I've worked with. It's been such a joy to work with them. I don't think they get all the credit that they should get, because they are a phenomenal bunch. It's been a joy to work with them. The type of player you work with and their willingness to take in information can probably make or break a coach, and those guys have just been exceptional, phenomenal to work with. So they must get a whole heap of credit for the way how far the team got in this competition. I mean, if you think we're second last at a stage, it says a lot about them, who have to rock up every week, put their bodies on the line, and produce good performances until we became second. Obviously, ideally you want to come first, but credit to them. They worked super hard this year.
Talking about humble guys, coachable guys, are you expecting that in Durban at the Shark Tank? I mean, with the galaxy of stars in the Sharks setup, I mean, it's probably 70-80% Springboks at the Sharks.
Yeah, I mean, credit to the people who are doing recruiting there. So obviously they've put together a fantastic group of rugby players. Also a good coaching staff that's there as well. So almost want to say, I don't think you can make it in life without humility. So my disposition and the bit that I've had to speak with those Springboks, just in general, when we played against each other before, after games, I see the same disposition in them. I think it's South African thing, really. I think there are very few arrogant, uncoachable guys in the South African setting. I think just how patriotical we are, and how we've just grown up with, there's certain South African things, and humility is probably one of them for me. So I'd like to believe that played.
Can you then explain to us what role particularly you've been roped in for at the Sharks going forward?
Benjamin, they say men and women shouldn't speak out of the bedroom, so that will be probably one of those. So my employers will make that known soon enough, but it obviously is something different, not so much a departmental coaching job. So I'm excited to see what that unveils going forward, and how I can potentially make a similar kind of impact that I've been able to do as a defense coach and all the teams that I've coached, to do something similar in this role, which is something that's very dear to me.
I like the diplomacy, Joey. Let's talk about the Springboks. Then your former stomping ground, the Loftus Versfeld, will be packed to the rafters this coming weekend. The Springboks playing Wales there. Let's talk about the selection just a bit. There's been talk about Elton Yankees' selection ahead of Andre Pollard, and also ahead of Vele Leroux at fullback. There's Damien Willemse. What's Jacques Nienaber thinking here?
Benjamin, I'm not an expert at this, but I'd like to believe that Jock is so experienced, probably one of the best defense coaches in the world, and now developing to one of the best head coaches in the world, is that he's got to think about the World Cup. That is the big prize. So that now is about 16 months away. So for a guy like Elton to start at 10, it just gives him another starting berth at fly half. So he knows what he has in Andre Pollard, and there's probably reasons regarding when he arrived back that he's not playing, but Elton he's a phenomenal rugby player. I mean, I've got the privilege to work with him at the Lions, so he's really good. If you think about a guy like Willie Leroux, he's got about, I think, 72 test caps minimum, so he's got a lot. So now to give Damien Willems a start at 15 is just another cap for him to start in case he has to start a World Cup game. Also a phenomenal rugby player who played in the URC final, who's a URC champion. So I believe the Boks have got such a good squad, and most head coaches want to go into a World Cup where you know you're number 1, 2, and 3. If they're called on to start a game, will do that. And you can't do that by theory or by training. You can only do that by getting people to get starting berths, and I believe that's part of some thinking regarding selection.
And also the fact that we have been so successful as a country, I'm putting myself there in the URC, what does it do for our chances against a European side? Previously we've been mainly competing, our big unions have been competing in the Southern Hemisphere. Now we've gone north. Does it help us? Does it give us that edge, except home ground advantage against the Welsh?
Yeah, I think, Benjamin, if you think about when the Bulls were dominating Super Rugby 2007, 8, 9, around there, when they won it, the Springbok went on to win the World Cup. So what I'm trying to say by that is when the provincial unions are doing well, like they've done well now in the URC, it bodes well. So those Welshmen that are coming onto our shores, coming to Loftus, they sort of have a taste at provincial level about how physical South Africans can be, and then they must just probably know that the Springboks will be a notch or two more physical than that. So I think psychologically it can be damaging for them when our provincial sides do really well against them, because they know that at Springbok level, those same players that they played against will probably be a notch or two higher. Just with no disrespect to them, every international side is a good side, but I think they know what's coming for them, and it's probably a daunting thing to prepare for.
All right, Joey, thank you so much for your time this morning. Good luck at the Sharks. That's Joey Mongalo. He is a coach at the Sharks. He's not telling us what exactly he'll be coaching just yet.